This is the most difficult video I've ever had to make, because I'm going to tell you something that you're not going to hear in church and you're not hearing in the synagogues. It's something that needs to be pointed out. So bear with me here, as this is very, very controversial for what I'm about to say. This is taken from the Supernova Festival, where these Hamas pigs, these inhuman filth, paraglided into the festival, dropped grenades, killing so many people. But look very closely at this video as to how it starts and what is going on. What do you see there? All right, let me pause it and back it up and pause it on this one thing here. Galatians chapter 6, verse 7 says that God will not be mocked. If you go through the history of the Hebrews, the Jews, you will see that God will remove his hand of protection, and he will not intervene when false idols have been brought into his land. So I hope that you'll look into this some more. We're caught up in a frenzy right now of physical emotions, and we're not looking at the spiritual side, the spiritual warfare that's going on here, and we should be. I've heard Jewish radio hosts that I respect very well articulate about the physical without examining the spiritual that has gone on here. And none of this is to excuse the horrific acts of Hamas. But God does remove his hand of protection. You may recall Christians in, I think it's in Matthew 24, where Jesus sits across the mount. He's maybe 6 or 7 feet up in the 100 feet up in the air, 600 or 700 feet up in the air, looking across from the mount at Jerusalem. And he weeps, and it's not just a kind of tears coming out of his eyes. The translation actually means wails. He wails over Jerusalem. And this is a picture of how God, how we as human beings just fail constantly to give him credit, to give him honor. And in Jerusalem, what Jesus said at this time was, "O Jerusalem, the prophets have been sent to you, and whoever's sent to you, you kill them and stone them. You don't want to listen to them." So God's been very patient, and I think the Israeli name is the meaning is, or maybe it's Jacob. I'm forgetting. I think it's Israel, actually. Means those that wrestle with God. I really believe, based on everything I've read in the Bible, that if we honor God and we make him number one and have no false gods behind, second in line to this, or parallel to his worship, then he's going to bless us. less than 3 months after the Hebrews were let out, passed through the parting of the Red Sea, less than 3 months, they're already creating a golden calf already. How much does that hurt God? And how angry does God have to be that he pulls away his hand of protection and pulls away his blessings so that evil can rush in? In fact, it doesn't always come from the other side that's evil, that's following Satan. It can come in the case of the golden calf. The Levites were instructed to slay everyone that didn't stream to God's side. And I think it was about 3,000, and that's recorded there in Exodus. They were instructed to kill every man that doesn't stream to God's side, and his companions as well. And back to Jerusalem, between 66 AD and 73 AD, the Romans were allowed to come in and destroy Jerusalem and in fact, demolish the temple. And that's what Jesus foretold. And he said, why? So, I've never been to Israel, but I listened to a lot of wise and intelligent Jewish friends and public figures that all talk about how Israel has become so secular that they've turned away from God. And in fact, let me point out something here. If you're Jewish and you're listening to this, you've had Isaiah 52 and 53 hidden from you in the synagogues, which foretell about Yeshua, Jesus. We call him, badly translated in English, we call him Jesus, the Christ. But his name is Yeshua, the Christ, the Messiah. And if you're going by traditions handed down by the Talmud, then you need to get back to God's word and what he said through his prophets. And God is even sending us prophets today, because what has happened in Israel today with Hamas and this massacre, this is all tied into an end game plan. Satan knows his time is up. Okay? As somebody just recently said, those that are on their way out scream the loudest. And that's where we're at in history right now. And God has sent us along modern prophets today that have been tested, not with murky predictions, but predictions that have solidly come true without any room for quarrel over some murky meaning. No, they've been very, very clear. Kim Clement, who has passed away a week before he was supposed to meet with President Trump, I think it was in 2016. We have Julie Green today, of Julie Green Ministries. So I'm begging you, if you don't know Yeshua, if you have not accepted him, that he laid down everything in a way of love to lead us and to prepare a way for us, then you need to just stop whatever you're doing right now. Chasing after pagan images, women dancing to drums to these pagan images, this is not something new. This was happening during Baal worship, and the worship of Molech, as these idols were demanding the sacrifice of children, just as we're doing today. What are we, over 65 million babies today? So this is an evil and perverse generation that no longer looks to God. You need to look to God. I'm begging you to look to God. Trust in him, and he'll keep his hand of protection on you, on his children. But you got to have faith, and you've got to seek after him. So I appreciate you listening, and bring it up with your rabbis. What I've said, what I've pointed out here, what I've shown you in this video, bring it up with your preachers and your pastors. Ask them why they're not talking about this, why they're not daring to talk about this. Wake them up. And if they refuse to wake up, you don't need to be there anymore listening to them drone on about irrelevant things, because there are very, very relevant things happening right now. We are making history right now. This is biblical history in the making right now. God has sent along modern-day prophets. Are we going to send them away as God's people has done through history? Or are we going to embrace them and listen to them? Because we need God in these dark times. He will light the way for us, just as he lit that path with a column of fire by night across the desert. Well, that light is Yeshua, the Messiah, today. Okay? And he is risen. He is alive. And when this is all said and done, when we get past some very dark things that are going to happen immediately now, and we go through a dark season, we're going to come out in a time of tremendous blessings from God. He's letting us see what evil looks like, because we've forgotten. We've forgotten that we are evil people when we are about self. And we chase after ourselves, and we make ourselves idols as well with selfies. But when we embrace as a human population, embrace iconic things that are not Yeshua, then we are engaged in idolatry. And God is a jealous God. Please comment here. You don't need to object to everything I've said here. I already know you're out there. You're gonna throw it away without a second thought. I would appreciate your prayers. I need them, because when you're this outspoken about something, the enemy's not happy at all, and you will be persecuted. I'm gonna be hated for what I'm saying here. But you do need to prepare yourself for what's coming. Listen to these prophets. God's not involved. And I know you're thinking, these phony prophets with their murky predictions. No. Yeah, there's a lot of them out there on YouTube. But the ones I've mentioned you need to listen to, because they're tried and they're true. And their predictions, their forecasts of the future have been coming true for years. Reevaluate your life. Put down your phones. Stop taking selfies. Stop scrolling through TikTok. Learn about God. Pick up the Holy Scriptures and learn who He is. Because He's got a lot in store here. He's going to let us go through dark times, and then He's going to bless us, and He's going to give us that picture in black and white of what evil looks like and what God's favor looks like. Good and evil, side by side. We're experiencing it now in this generation, so that we don't have an excuse whatsoever. We've seen the worst that evil has right now with what Hamas did in Israel. That is the worst of the worst. And actually, we're going to see some other things coming along that's going to be revealed in our government here in the United States that's going to be very hard to palate, and you're going to need God because your world is going to fall apart. Everything you knew or thought you knew about reality, it's all going to be stripped away, and you're going to be shown things that are just going to be shocking to you. You're going to need God. You're going to need his comfort. He loves you. He really, really does. And Yeshua, he came here. Jesus, he came here and he walked with us. He knows the troubles that we go through. He knows about aches and pains and being tired and without food in his travels and depended 100% on the Father. And you're going to need to do the same thing during these times as well. But we're going to be shown that good and evil side by side. And we're going to go through a period of time that's going to be a very glorious time. And when the final chapter, the last page of the final chapter of the last days comes up, okay, Jesus comes, Yeshua comes, he pulls us off the face of the earth, and he goes scorched earth on it before he creates everything new. No more poisons, no more animals that are going to eat us, no more darkness. All the things that have beaten us down will be gone, and he'll have made a new world and set us back down, because we're not meant to be disembodied spirits like is taught so prominently in so many churches. Okay, that's not our end destination. Yes, if you die today, be absent with the Lord, or to be absent from the body is present with the Lord, but that's not the end destination. We were made in the garden, in paradise. This is our home. And we will be set back down here. We'll be, if those of us die before Christ's return, we'll be resurrected and in bodily form, just as Christ was, as Yeshua was. And we'll be here set on this earth and enjoying paradise the way God intended, because we went through it all. We tried it our way. We screwed it all up. And still God had patience with us. The prodigal son, that if you don't know that story, it's the son that just doesn't want the father's blessings. He goes out and tries his own way, and I think he's sold into slavery because he doesn't have anything to eat. And just all kinds of horrible things happen to him, where I think he's even eating out of a pig's trough at some point. But when he comes back home, the father prepares a great meal, a feast for him, and gives him his finest clothes. And that's what we can expect from our loving Father. And man, if you're on the Islamic side, there's so much more in the Bible than what you have in the Quran. A man that had a dream and nothing was provable, and a man that just had a dream. We've got so much more than that. We've got 66 books in the Western version of the Bible, with over 40 different writers, and they beautifully harmonize in a way that it's just impossible on any other subject matter. So God's hand has to be on it. We serve a God of love and integrity and wisdom. Everything else is of evil.